Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete and certified high performance coach. We're going to bring you some very interesting speakers today. And before we bring on our speakers, I just want to give you an idea why you would want to share this, why you would want to come and be a part of this, and why growing and changing is going to be a part of everybody's journey. So we do these live events for a couple reasons. The world changed. We need digital content because when I meet you, I'm going to search you if I'm interested. And we want to make sure there's enough information out there for you to go on a journey with whoever you meet. 2, speaking is the second biggest fear to dying. So 5 years ago, I would have rather died than speak up here. But when you do it a few times, you get better and you get more confident. And the other thing is 5 minutes, 3 points. We want our speakers to prepare themselves for, say, a TED Talk. So if you put 3 speeches, 5-minute speeches together, you have a TED Talk. So we're all on a journey of learning, growing, and connecting and being with people. So our first speaker is Kay online. Okay. All right. So we'll go to Pete Kane, who you know, I just introduced. Oops. Okay. We'll go to our second speaker until Kay comes, which will be the 4 human drivers. The 4 human drivers are aliveness, connection, meaningful purpose, and personal growth. Let me break it down. My schedule, and I'm just going to give you my version of it. I get up 3:30 every morning. I drink 20 ounces of water. I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement. Part of my thinking is just, what's the day going to look like? What did I learn from the previous day? I never journaled until I had a stroke. And when I had 49 days to think, I started a process of writing, and being dyslexic was never my thing. I never enjoyed writing, never could write, but I discovered putting a pen to a piece of paper gave me a way to get what was up here out. We have between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts that go through our head every day. If we don't have a way to release it, there's a lot of stuff that go on here, and some of it's replaying our negative past. We can't change the past. We can only impact the future. So when you write, there's something magical. It rewires your brain. So I then, in the afternoon, when I start, my energy level starts to go down a little bit, I make phone calls. I try to have 5 meaningful conversations every single day. That gives me life. That gives me energy. And so if you know your body and the way you need to generate the energy, then you look at your schedule as a way to keep your energy at the highest level possible. The next is meaningful purpose. We die 2 years after retirement. I'm of retirement age, 68. I went to my 50th high school reunion, and everybody said, when do you retire? And I said, never. And they said, well, why? Aren't you going to slow down? I said, no. Why would I want to slow down? You die when you slow down. So you keep moving, you keep challenging yourself, you keep having a purpose. So when you retire and you break away from your relationships, you lack that purpose, you lack that aliveness, and you stop growing. That's when you start dying. So keep growing. Have that meaningful purpose, whatever it is. When I have a conversation with George, it's listening to him. It's finding out what's going on in his life. And that allows you to have that purpose. And the last thing is personal growth. Now, I discovered personal growth at about 18. when I failed English in high school, when I failed out of Virginia Tech, when I went through kind of the school of hard knocks, I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Tony Robbins. And I, at that time, discovered that, you know what? If I invest in myself and I get better, life gets better. So I had that 50-year journey of learning and growing, but it wasn't till after I had my stroke and I slowed down that I gained a sense of thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. And I found a podcast that a gentleman that's my mentor now, Growth Day. And I now practice personal growth on a daily basis. That's part of my daily routine. So I put those four together to put the human drive. And if we know what the human drive is, we can impact it. So our next speaker is Kay online? Yeah, yes, okay. Our next speaker, Kay Ginsburg. I met Kay about a year and a half ago, and I met her through one of her team members. And I had a booth right next to her. And when I got to know Amy and we were talking about her transition, her kids were grown, out of the house. She was entering the workforce again. And she decided to enter it with Kay. And I tell you, when I met her, I felt a peace to what she was sharing about what she was doing. Then when I met Kay, I understood why. Because Kay's the president and founder of Peaceful Transitions. And when you go from the senior life, you have a house and you got to transition into a smaller facility, you need somebody to organize that move, that transition. And when I had Kay on my podcast, I'd only known organizers that had one person operations. I didn't know anybody that was building a team. And when I asked her, Kay, is it you and Amy? She says, no, I have 25 people. And I about fell out of my chair because I didn't know anybody could grow that big of a business. Then the next year I asked her, I said, so how are you doing on your growth of your business? And she says, well, I said, how many people are part of your team? And she said, 35. So she knows how to build teams. She knows how to activate the power of people being organized, growing, and transitioning into a peaceful environment. So Kay's going to have lunch with her mom every Saturday. So she couldn't be with us live. She's with us remotely. So Kevin, introduce or bring on Kay.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Pete. Yes, I'm Kay Ginsburg. I own Peace of Mind Transitions. We're senior move managers helping older adults and their families through what's often a very difficult situation, moving from a home that you might have lived in for 25 to 30 or 40 years to some sort of senior living. It could be a condo apartment or into a senior community. And so, as Pete said, I started 9 years ago. I was pretty much a solo entrepreneur, and we've just grown and evolved over the past 9 years. Last year, we grossed over $1.3 million, and I have built this amazing team. And I really attribute three things to the growth of our team. The first thing is that we are very mission focused. Just as Pete was saying, you needed meaningful purpose in your life. I think you need to have a meaningful purpose in what you do every day. And our company's mission is to provide very compassionate, professional, white glove move services for our clients and their families. So when we are working with our clients to organize, downsize prior to the move, or packing and unpacking, it's almost like that compassion is so important to us. It's almost like we have our arms wrapped around this family during this really difficult time, while still being very professional in everything we do. That mission not only helps drive our team, but it also helps us from a marketing standpoint really understand who our client is, because we're not for everybody. Some people just need a moving company, but we provide many more services beyond that. So really understanding what your mission is and staying true to that every day is very important. The next thing that we do, it's kind of aligns with that mission statement, is that we have a set of 5 core values. And we are very clear about our core values from the very first minute where we're interviewing someone through how we deal with our team, with our clients, all our decisions. And our core values are creatively serve together. So we all work together as a team and we are serving our clients. We invest in each other and in our clients, and that's things that I invest in our team, that they're so important to me, that in my mind, our team is just as important as our clients are. So I really invest and listen to them and their needs, whether that's they're saying we really would like sweatshirts because sometimes it's cold in the morning. It would be great to, instead of just having our t-shirts, to improving our vans. One of our supply drivers said, hey, could we have these little additional mirrors on our side view so we can see better? I'm like, absolutely. So always investing in our team. We care contagiously. That's our third core value. We care about each other. We care about our team. We remain adaptable. That is a huge part of our job. Things change all the time. And the last thing is we influence positively, so that we want to make the world around us a better place. So we do things like participate and sponsor the Parkinson's Walk last year. We have a partnership with Habitat for Humanity. So whatever we can do to improve the community around us is really important. And we live those core values in our decision making. We have a monthly newsletter where we highlight a core value every month. So we are always talking about what's important to us. So again, between our mission and our core values, everybody knows what we're doing. And the final thing I think that makes us successful and different is I believe in full transparency with our team and with our clients. I have an open door policy. It doesn't matter what your role in the company is. If you have an idea, even if it's not in your area, that you're welcome to come talk to me. I have what I call Coffee with Kay once a month with different people that I don't get to see on a regular basis. And I'm open to hearing their ideas and understanding, where they are at the company, what they're, even get to know them a little bit more personally. And they are free to make suggestions. Doesn't mean we're always going to take them, but I respect their opinions. I listen to them. And if we're not going to do what they suggest, I explain why we're not doing it. The other thing is, if I make a mistake, I own it in front of everybody. If we make a mistake with a client, we own it as well. And we do whatever we can to fix it. And I think that's really important for our team to see that as an owner. I don't place blame on other people. If somebody makes a mistake, it's like, hey, let's learn from it. Let's move on. There's no blame. There's no judgment. But it's always just a positive, supportive environment. And the feedback that I get from my team is that, it's a very different environment to work in, that we all are all together on this mission. It is primarily women. We do have some men on our team, but even when we have our team meetings, you had never seen so many hugs and happiness to see each other, even with the guys. So those three things are being very clear about our mission, having our core values, and being transparent and open with our team have really helped me develop just an amazing group of people that are really striving to help our clients. And we enjoy being with each other. And I think that's really important as well. So I didn't set my timer. I'm not sure how long I went, but I hope I'm within my 5 minutes. So.
Well, we could have listened for another 25 minutes because that was a master class on building a successful team. And whenever you meet Kay in person, the name of her business speaks to the conversation you have. It's a peaceful conversation. She listens, she grows. You can just tell that this is a person that's impacting the world, growing a wonderful team that are putting that wonderful transition that we have when we go from, a home to a smaller home. And you're in good hands when you're with Kay. So if you want to get more about how to get a hold of Kay, just go to the show notes. We'll have a link where you can find out more about her company and how you can use her resources to have a more peaceful transition. So thank you, Kay, for that master class. I've never seen 5 minutes that just absolutely crushed me. I wish I could journal and listen at the same time on this platform, but I'll go back and listen to it. Thank you so much, Kay.
Thank
and
you.
Enjoy lunch with your mom.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is a man you got to have in your life. No, that didn't sound too good. Okay, let me revise that. A person that when tragedy hits, you want a person you can trust. When water goes out of control and you have an emergency on your hand, you better know somebody that you can trust, that can get the job done, who knows everybody in the city, that can pull off a actual peaceful emergency. And when I've known George for probably, 6 or 7 years, but I've had to work with him personally through a water tragedy at the house. And I've never seen his team. They're confident. They come in, they do the job. He communicates with you. I can see why he's building a successful team in a very chaotic industry. So George, if you wouldn't mind coming and being with us today, thank you, because Saturday's a big day for him. So I had to, give him a lot of incentives to come. Okay, thank you, George. Thank you, brother.
What are we talking about today, Pete? Is this team building?
Yes. Oh, I forgot to say.
You left me hanging, Pete.
Yes.
Let me see.
For details of my work.
Let me see. I have it right here so we can go over it. Sorry, guys. Is it posted up or no?
Yeah, it is.
Is this where we're talking about critical thinking and so forth? Hey, guys, George Nesgoda with Water Medics. We started our company in Atlanta 16 years ago. We started with a passion for helping. A lot of it started because of mold. We have a lot of mold in Atlanta, and we have a passion for helping people. We had a lot of clients who couldn't live in their house. They felt like they were being eaten alive or choked or suffocated. And so we started a company with, guys who also had the same passion, that wanted to go help people clean their area, make it safe, make the home a home again. With our team, my team shares the same passion. If we're not on the same page, we don't work together. Sometimes I get in the field with them at work, but I spend a lot of time with them. They do it because they enjoy it. They do it because I enjoy it, and I push them along. We talk about critical thinking with our team. I have to be 10 steps ahead of them all the time. We have 20 jobs going at a time every day, and we've got to lead them. We got to know the steps for each job, the processes, and the clients. Each client is different. So I have to take each individual client, sit down with them, find out what specifically they need, portray that to the team, tell them what they have to do at each job. And each person's different. Each job is different. And we have to figure out how to, I went to a project yesterday, twin older ladies, I think they're in their late 70s. And they have a major problem in the basement. The plumber won't work on their house. They don't have insurance coverage. They have to pay for this. They have to take all their walls down in the basement because it's covered with mold over years of content sitting there. And, I have to figure out a creative way to help them get this project done. and do it within a budget they can afford, because they're just over their head. And again, I got this project from someone I'm very close with, a local business owner. He went and did the debris removal. He told them, call George. George can help you with this, and Water Medics and his team will come in and situate and sort it out and help you, as best as possible. So the three things: critical thinking, problem solving, the relationships that brings the work in. We figure out how to solve problems. We make our teams, our clients, and we're trying to do our best for Atlanta to keep this thing going. Thanks, Pete.
I was not worried at all when I didn't give all the details to George about what he was speaking on, because in his daily life, there's not a playbook. He has to figure it out every single day. He has to work with his team. He has to assess. He has to listen. And those are the kind of traits that make a person successful in what they do. So, George, thank you so much for me not giving you the details of what you were going to speak on. All right, our next speaker, I'm so proud of her before she even comes to speak, because I think I've mentioned, it wasn't too long ago, I was scared to death to speak in front of people. I was scared to ask a question, but after having a stroke, I figured I had nothing to lose, so I might as well go for it. I had a second chance. And so when I met Linda, I love her conversations. We've had conversations about entrepreneurship, about life. She goes here at Grace, so we see each other on a weekly basis. But when I asked Jonathan, I said, do you think Linda would want to speak? He said, well, I'll ask her. And she texted me this morning, and she said she did. And I tell you, we can get emotional. Okay. There we go. We can let our fear grow, or we can lean into faith. And Linda's leaning into faith, and she's accepted the challenge because, as we've said before, speaking in public is the second biggest fear to dying. So thank you for conquering your fear and being with us here, Linda. She's going to speak on shame, and I don't have my piece of paper, the hidden weight. Shame, the hidden weight. So Linda, thank you so much, and please come up to and speak to our group.
All right. It's really funny that Pete would say that, public speaking is the second greatest fear, because to be honest, it's my first greatest fear. I'm not really afraid of dying, but public speaking is very up there. And it's really funny because I made all the excuses. I'll lose weight, I'll do this, I'll dye my hair, I'll buy the clothes, we'll do all the things, and then I'll public speak. Because I know it's really funny because I like being heard and I like talking. But talking in front of other people and being heard by them, we're not doing that. And so I really did all the things. I lost the weight, I did everything. I got the clothes, and I still did not want to talk in front of anyone. I didn't want to answer a question. I didn't want to cheer. I had all the thoughts, and I didn't want to do it. So I want to ask you guys a question this morning. What really is holding you back? Because that's what I asked myself. I finally realized it was not any of those excuses. And I was like, well, really is it? And most people are probably thinking, oh, it's not enough resources. I need to make more money. Or, oh, it's, I'm going to fail. So I'm not going to do it. And that's it. And if you're really thinking that, I encourage you just to stop listening right now, because it's really a waste of time and we only have 5 minutes, right? Really, I believe at the end of the day, what holds everybody back is shame. It is being afraid to say what is on your mind and being who you are. And it's really tricky because it sneaks in on you. One day you're a 5-year-old kid and you're wearing a Superman costume to the grocery store, and the next day You're 35 years old and you're afraid to say what's on your mind, and you're afraid to cheer for your kids at a football game because you're afraid of what that person's going to say. And you're like, how did I get here? You go from so confident as a child to so afraid as an adult, and you have no idea how you made that transition. And so you just sit there thinking, oh, it was because that person said that. Oh, it was because that person said that. And you just keep thinking it in your mind, but you don't share it with anyone because, I don't know, you're afraid of what that person is going to think about your dad because your dad told you not to wear the costume at the store. And you're afraid to have that conversation with your dad. And you're afraid to confront them, even though every time you put on clothes, you're like, man, what is my dad going to say? And you're afraid of that thought. And so I truly believe that that's what holds everyone back. And it's just like hidden weight. You know, you can lose all the weight, but if you have all the shame of what caused you to gain the weight, that weight actually never goes away. And it's actually still right there in front of you, and you're holding it every day, and everybody can see it. Everybody. And let's see, where are we at? And here's the trick. Just like when you're really good at your job, when you're really good at holding shame, you get really good at it and you don't even realize how much shame you're holding until you're like, why can't my business make $1 million? And then you're like, I don't know how to get to the next level. And shame's voice tricks you into taking what's normal, what is guilt, and what is, I made a mistake, let's learn from that mistake. And it tricks you to thinking, I am the mistake. And then you're afraid to actually even talk about the mistake because you're the mistake. And then in your business, whether or not you're having sales or not, it's your fault you're having sales and you're not actually trying to figure it out. It's all just you. And maybe it's not at the end of the day. And once you start talking about those things, and maybe you start being like, maybe I am the problem, and you start being open to that, then people can pour into your life and then you can get all the answers. And honestly, at the end of the day, once you overcome a lot of those things, you have the answer, and you're just trying to get all the weight of that shame to help you guide to that answer. And I think that's all I have. And I hope everybody has a great day.
That's awesome. Man, I tell you, that was so good. I have to control my emotions when I hear people step up and be courageous. To deliver that, to think that that is like something she was avoiding, if that wasn't a masterclass of really understanding feelings and how fear controls our emotion. Phil, crack a joke. Phil's my emotional juggernaut. So he'll get me back into because he can tell some amazing jokes, which I need sometimes when the emotion just overwhelms me. Linda, thank you so much for stepping up, for sharing your heart, and for impacting people that live in that shameful world. And it's not a world we want to live in, but it's a world we come from, but we grow through it. So Linda, thank you so much. Our next speaker, she brought me to tears yesterday. So there's been tears the last 2 days. So I know Charity, and I know she's finished a book, and I know a little bit about the impact she's making on our youth. She's a Scout leader helping to pour into our youth. And when I found out she had written a book, I asked her about the book, and the title just blew me away. And then I heard her speak yesterday because we do a virtual event before our live event. Now, I was behind the scenes, so you couldn't see me, but I was weeping. Phil, please say something. And so when Charity, we can't ever change the past. We can only learn from it to impact. Her book is going to impact thousands of people, because if we leverage a book, people can get to know your story faster and quicker. So I'm thinking I have, the Keys to Living. Okay, I'm just going to say the keys to living. And I'm going to let Charity come and share her heart, her book, and how you can get access to her book and her story and learn from what she's doing to impact the world. Thank you, Charity.
Thank Pete. All right, so yes, I wrote a book. It's called The Key, Escaping the Prison That Trauma Built. I'm going to tell you today how we get in this prison, how we discover that we're in the prison, and how to get out. So on the outside, we all look like we're free. We build friendships, we're raising our families, we're posting these great pictures on social media that show us having this happy life. But inside, many of us are living inside a prison, not one built from concrete walls and steel bars, but one that is built from trauma. Maybe a harsh word that was spoken in anger, from silence, from being bullied as a child, from betrayal, neglect, abuse, or shame, or others. I know because I lived there. As a child, I learned that safety came at a cost. If I was silent, I would escape the belt. If I did what I was told and I did it really well, maybe I would be loved, but for sure I wouldn't be hurt. And I took these strategies and made them stories. And those stories, they followed me into my friendships. They followed me into my marriages. They even followed me into my work. Because I was the strong one. I was the achiever. I didn't need anybody to help me. I could do it all on my own. And from the outside, it looked like success. But in the inside, I was exhausted. I thought I was invisible, and I was just waiting for that next shoe to drop. You see, as a child, I used these strategies to keep me safe. But as an adult, they became the bars of my prison. The funny thing is, we don't see the prison that we're in. Because they come from, we're a people pleaser. We tell ourselves, we please people, we're an overachiever, we're gonna avoid conflict, we're a perfectionist, and we tell ourselves that's who we are. But in reality, these are strategies we have built to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves safe. I didn't discover my bars until I attended the Landmark Forum. That weekend in Chicago, I discovered that I was taking my stories from my past and I was bringing them into my future. And I was still trying to earn love. I was still trying to prove that I was worthwhile, and I was trying to avoid rejection. Maybe you feel that too. Maybe you've wondered why you try so hard, but you never find peace. And it's because those strategies we built to protect ourselves are now keeping us stuck. But there's good news. Healing comes from discovering our bars. That prison that I locked myself into, I had the key all along, and so do you. But that key isn't from somebody else's approval. It's not from working harder, and it's not from being enough. It's about rewriting your future. It's about forgiveness. It's about having self-compassion and choosing to have a life that isn't bound by your past. And that's why I wrote the book, The Key, Escaping the Prison That Trauma Built. It's not just about my story and the other women in the book. It's about you discovering your bars, discovering how you can reclaim your voice, and how you can walk into a life that is thriving, that you were meant to live in. Freedom is possible, not just survival. You can have real joy and real abundance, and it comes from dropping the weight of the burden of your past and rewriting your own story. So let me leave you with a question. What would your life look like if you used the key?
Wow. Holy mackerel. That's the second time I've heard it, and it gets more powerful. I'll be the first to buy the book, that's for sure. I saw my story in Charity's story. People pleasing, overachiever, in and out of depression, suicide. But the past is the past, and the future is bright when you do have that freedom to be who you are. So Charity, thank you for sharing that. It's going to inspire thousands because people have that mindset of the past that keeps us in that prison. All right, our next speaker, you're going to hear from a guy that I was telling Jeff before we started. I said, when I met Jonathan, he was the first person that asked this question. And I never heard this question in public. I think he was a supervisor of education. And Jonathan asked the question about, so emotional intelligence, how is it being taught in our school? And the guy was like a deer in headlights. He didn't know how to answer it. And I went right after that. I said, what on earth? I've never heard anybody ask that question, especially to a guy in education. So we started a friendship from that point on. So I invited Jonathan because I haven't met a smarter guy that knows technology, knows systems, knows processes, and has lived a life that he's sharing and pouring back into others. Because if you don't have a healthy business, you can't make a big impact in the world. So Jonathan is rewriting business processes and systems so people can have a thriving business, so they can make the biggest impact on the world. And so Jonathan's going to come up and talk about the invisible engine behind scalable growth. Scalable. That's something that we all need to understand and apply to our business. So Jonathan, please come to the stage. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you for having me, Pete. In 2021, I had climbed the corporate ladder and was sitting in a nice CTO salary job, feeling like I had achieved the fulfillment of my life goals at a very early age. I had job prospects across the board and felt safe. Through a series of unfortunate events, my son became virtually kidnapped by his mother. For anyone who knows me, knows that my son is the most important thing in my life. And with such a distraught emotional state, my work performance tanked. I was unable to focus on anything about life. I had legal fees through the roof. And all of a sudden, I lost my job with no mental or emotional capacity to look for another. Just to fast forward a little bit, I did recover my son, and he's nice and healthy. Everything is great. But it made me realize and wake up to the reality that a lot of that safety from my own hands, my own mind, generating the income and providing the safety of my family and my life was a false safety. I realized that I needed to ensure that I could take care of myself and my family in a way that was not directly attached to my own hands and my own mind. While my situation may have been extreme, I realized that one car accident, one legal situation, one bad moment could make everything go away. I started my company, Gretrix, stands for Great Metrics Put Together. And I utilized these skills that I had learned in the corporate world, automating and streamlining systems for companies like Mercedes-Benz, McDonald's, Patron Tequila, to name just a few, and realized that I needed to apply those to my life. Using my business, Gretrix, we acquired a ton of clients and were able to apply these strategies to create what I call the invisible engine of scalable growth. Through the implementation of processes and automations, I was able to create an income in which in 2004, I was able to achieve a rich dad, poor dad retirement where my assets and my cash flow surpassed my liabilities. Not a millionaire quite yet, but at least I now had true safety and true peace, knowing that everything was going to continue to operate even if I had a bad day. Now, to talk a little bit about automation. What I have learned so far concerning automation of income is there are 3 ways to achieve that. Number 1 is people. You can hire people, have them work for you, and if they do their jobs as you prescribe, you'll automate your income. Number 2 is technology. And when I say technology, in my personal space, we're talking digital technology, but of course, as many people know, technology, started with the simple invention of a hammer and nails, right? Technology is anything that you can utilize a system or a product to deliver on what it is that you're meant to deliver on. And the last is obviously money and investments, right? Money making money for you. Now, each of those is a progression. And typically from what in most cases, unless you have a good fortune, most people start from people to then technology to then investments and money making money for you. Now, given this is only 5 minutes, want to just kind of give you a taste and establish the importance of that streamlining of processes and automation that can truly give you the safety and the peace to run your business and your life. Thank you.
Wise thoughts just shared there. Jonathan, thank you so much. We're in a crazy age of AI. And if your business is not leaning into systems and processes and in a mindset of scalable growth, you're going to get left behind. So if you want to know more about how you can use these tactics, these strategies, these thoughts, these ideas, you can look in the show notes and you'll be able to get a hold of Jonathan and be able to take your business to the next level. Jonathan, thank you so much for those ideas. Our next speaker is a gentleman, I like to say he'll keep you laughing every step of the way. We met about a year ago at the American Legion, and I haven't stopped laughing ever since. And when I get emotional, I look for Phil because he's the only one that can break that mindset and bring me back to a fun kind of mindset. And when I want Phil to talk about, and he knows, relationships, if you've heard, are so critical. People are so critical to the life and blood of the business. George has a successful relationship with his team. Kay with her team. Jonathan with his team. It's a consistent pattern, but you have to know how to build those relationships. And if I want to look up relationships in the dictionary, Phil Brannon's name is right there with them. So Phil, corporate crushing it, building relationships. And if you ever want to keep your mindset laughing, hang around with Phil.
Lord. All right, we're going to start out with a Jerry Clower story. I know that young lady there may not know who Jerry Clower is. Do you know who Jerry Clower is? He's got so many, but this is one I really thought was good. And it involves relationships. There were these, this farmer and his right-hand man were having a discussion about needing to bring some new bloodlines onto the farm. And the three bulls that were the incumbent bulls on the farm were in the pasture grazing, and they overheard the conversation. And the first bull said to the other two, he said, you know what? I have been here 35 years. Half of these cows belong to me. And I don't care what kind of big shot Mr. Bull they bring in here. I'm not about to share with him. The second bull says, I feel the same way. I've been here about 7 years, and about a third of these cows are mine. I'm not about to give them up. Third bull says, I ain't been here but 6 months. And, ain't about 2 or 3 of these cows even like me, but I ain't about to give them up. Well, the next day, sure enough, this huge trailer pulls up. And the biggest, baddest looking Bramer bull, he's not looking through the slats at the cows grazing in the pasture. He's looking over them. I mean, he was something. He was magnificent. So the bulls start another conversation. The first one goes, you know what? I've been doing a little thinking. That wouldn't be a Christian to me to not want to share with this new bull. I think I might be able to share with him. And the second bull says, I think you're right. I've reconsidered, and I think I might be able to share with him as well. About that time, the third bull busts out of the gate, paws the ground, bellowing, raising all kinds of cane. And those two other bulls look at him. He said, hey, man, what are you doing? Don't you know that bull will kill you? He said, I just want to make sure that he knows that I'm a bull. It's important to know where you are in the pecking order. That's the bottom line here. Now, I did meet Pete at, this is kind of a funny way to meet. We were at the American Legion has a Post 29 off of Gresham Avenue. If you want a good breakfast, it's open to the public. It's $12. Cash your card. Every third Saturday, 8 to 11. They have the best buffet breakfast there. It's all done by volunteers. All the proceeds, work in the community for vets. But I was a little later that morning than normal, so I wasn't sitting with my normal crowd of guys that I hang out with and ladies. And there were 3 guys at this table, and I knew one of them, and I sat next to Pete. But he was turned this direction, so I could not see the logo on his shirt, which said Podcast Pete. And so we're chatting a little bit, and he asked me what I did for a living. I said I was in a commercial flooring business, and then I don't know how he got onto it. I said, you watching podcasts? And his buddy on the other side of him just burst out laughing, and he pointed to Pete's breast lapel, and I looked and went, okay, let's change feet here while we're talking. So we that's how we met. That was the first time we met. That was last October, wasn't it? Yeah, September, October. So anyway, what am I supposed to talk about? Building relationships. Yeah, I can tell just by these two, and I came at the end of yours. Y'all know how to do this. It's obviously something that's in your DNA, and I think COVID really put this on steroids. Especially if you're an extrovert. Man, was that not just a painful time having not to, interact with people? We had a group of people in our neighborhood, and we would all congregate. It was during the summer when the pool was open. We'd go down there with our laptops and our cell phones and work. But, it was hell to be an extrovert during COVID. And I think that really put the emphasis on it's still important to be able to maintain that face-to-face contact with clients. AI is a great tool. Just as these things are great tools, but I will promise you there is a whole lot of evil that can be used by that tool as well if it's misused. And there's people out there misusing it as we speak. And I know this gentleman knows that, but it is going to be a good thing for a lot of tasks, and it's going to up our game and efficiency. But never forget that the human contact is still, we're communal creatures. That's how God designed us. He did not design us to be isolated. And that's what happens when you get depressed or when you or not yourself, you're not on your A game, you tend to want to just be alone. That's not healthy. You got to have that person on speed dial, or those people on speed dial that are your people. That you could be a sounding board, and you could do the same thing for them. And I would just emphasize that today. I know my time's up, but anyway, thank you for inviting me today. And sorry I'm a little raspy. We had a sales meeting in Brasstown Valley all week, and I'm a little tired. So go Dogs.
When you're around Phil, you feel like you've known him your whole life because he makes that connection, that relationship building better than anybody I've seen, maybe with the exception of George. But anyway, he's funny, he's fun to be around, and he really puts the emphasis, because I remember what Tony Robbins said years ago. He said, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. So lean into your relationships and the quality of your life goes up. And he's exactly right. Every time I went through my cycle of depression, I isolated because you're embarrassed, you're shameful, you don't want to be around people, but that's the worst thing you can do. You need to be around people. Connections are people, relationships are people. So lean into your relationships and you'll have a more vibrant life. Okay, now let's go on to our next speaker here. Let's see. I even left, Phil told me he could speak, and if I'm organizing your event, you're in trouble. So don't hire me to organize your event. Okay, our next speaker is going to be me. Okay, I would introduce myself, but that'd be weird. Okay, so the 5 habits of high performance people are really your foundation to building a skyscraper that'll allow you to grow personally and through business. Clarity, energy, courage, which Linda demonstrated today, productivity, and influence. Those are the 5. They're proven. So you build on those 5. Clarity. Let's talk about clarity. I was probably the most unclear person, scattered, ADD, dyslexic, trying to do everything, but I never had a clear vision of what I wanted to do. When I started working on my clarity, my distractions started to go down a different direction. I'm so clear about what I want to do. I get up, I drink my water, I think, I journal, I plan, I implement. I do the same thing over and over again. When I'm not, I used to use the phone for maybe, because I started in social media, so I was hooked on really providing that know, like, and trust through like, comment, or share. The judgment we do to ourselves by being plugged into a phone versus creating your life is the difference between consumption and creating. We want to create our life. We're born to create. We've been lulled into consumption through social media, through TV, through all the different distractions out there. It's living your life. It's being clear on how you're creating your life that allows you to have that clarity in your life. The second is energy. I never understood energy until I had a stroke. I had to rewire. I'm still rewiring half of my brain. So I have to think about every step I take. It's not automatic. So if I don't guard my energy, I'm falling asleep after 9 holes, which I did when I played with my friends, because I was mentally drained. I wear 2-color shoes every single day for 2 reasons. I don't have to think about which shoe I put on. And the other is I want a meaningful conversation with people that say, do you know you have 2-color shoes on? And then I can start and have some fun with a conversation with people. So when you look at your energy, I get up at 3:30 every morning. So by 3:30 in the afternoon, 12 hours of going pretty fast, my energy is starting to go down. So that's when I get on the phone and I call people. I try to have 5 meaningful conversations with people. That boosts my energy back. It energizes me. People energize us. Texts, not so much. Emails, definitely not. So have those meaningful conversations to boost your energy when you find yourself not generating the energy that you want in your life. Courage comes from doing those things that Linda displayed. Getting up here, speaking in front of public, that takes courage. I mean, you gain courage by doing things that maybe you think you want to avoid. And I avoided it my whole life. I wouldn't ask that question. I certainly wouldn't speak. And so that captured a lack of confidence. And when we have lack of confidence, we're not stepping up. But if we do those things and gain those courage through doing those things we know we shouldn't do, we gain more courage. And then it starts to get, our muscle of courage starts to grow. The next thing is productivity. So productivity, I break my day into 3 5-hour days. I have 3 distinct chunks. So I get 21 days in a week. Most people get 7 because I have a set of things I do in each 5-hour time frame. And my last point is the influence. You know you have influence when you call somebody and they call you back. If they don't call you back, you have no influence with that person. Influence is earned. And so I always would test my influence when I'd call people, because if they never call me back, I got to work on my influence. And so our influence today, as I wind down, is our influence online. I meet somebody, I'm going to Google them if I have an interesting conversation. And if I don't see anything on that person, the journey stops. So we encourage people to build content online so people can get to know you, like you, and trust you. All right, our next speaker is right before, let's see, George has got to go. Saturday is probably his biggest day. And to get him to come and speak to us is really, I want to thank you for doing that, George, because I know how the contracting business is a crazy business. But this topic, and I kind of noticed that, I don't know, maybe Linda could relate to this. When my daughters or my women go to a car dealership, the salespeople lick their chops. It's like, oh yeah, they don't know what's under the hood, and they just think they can take advantage of it. George has to deal with mainly women over 60 years old. Now, he's married, so he has to do it in such a way that he has to establish a quick relationship of trust. And you got to do it in minutes, because when an emergency happens, they're making decisions quickly. They're not saying like, hey, come back in a month after I check you out. They have to look at you and believe that you're going to take care of their emergency. So George has that skill set of establishing trust, building, listening, and doing it with our over 60 women, which is a class that get taken advantage of, because I have 2 daughters, 2 sisters, and 6 granddaughters. So I kind of know the mindset that they do. So George, would you please come up, share with our community what it takes to really connect with people quickly and establish that trust with our women over 60?
So Pete, I wrote a bunch of things down, and after listening to the other women talk, like I'm in a whole different direction now. So, I get called to people's houses all the time, all different times of the day, different situations. I have to be able to, for me, building trust, I have to walk into a place, be very calm, gentle, and confident. You have to be confident that you know what you're doing, but you can't dominate. You can't talk over someone. You have to listen. You have to be empathetic. You have to listen. You have to listen to what they want. You have to listen to, a lot of people who are older have already been through relationships. They've been taken advantage of. They've had, serious things happen. They've dealt with a lot of people. So you have to come in as a genuine person and want to help them. I was listening to Linda and Charity speak. You have to want to take care of women. I look at them like mothers, grandmothers, sisters, like they need to be protected from the other animals out there that are trying to take advantage of them. For me, that's very important. I don't go in there looking for dollar figures. I'm like, we're here to help you figure out your problem, take care of it. I have a client who got a hold of me. She had mold in her kitchen. And she had a company lined up to do the work, and he told her, it's too small of a job. I'm too far away. I'm not going to do your project. So she asked me, can you come look at this? Is this too small of a job for you? So I went and sat down with her. I said, what's going on? It turns out her husband has had pneumonia 6 or 8 times. He keeps ending up in the hospital. He keeps getting ill. And she wanted someone to look at her mold situation reports and help her out. And, I did that through, I said, yes, we'll help you. Nothing is too small. I mean, your husband's life is more important than any money we can make, your quality of life. And that was the most important thing to her. She didn't care about anything at that point. She goes, I just need you here immediately to come make my house safe so I can have a home where my husband can come back. He was living out in the driveway in an RV to avoid going in his house that he's lived in for 30 years. So I stopped what we were doing on other projects. I sent the team over there. I said, this is very important. We have to fix this situation for them. And it turns out we're helping her, do other things too. So in a closing message, building trust, you have to want to help people. No one could teach you that. I grew up, like I told Pete, with 2 sisters. If you weren't a good boy, you got taught how to be one quickly. And just show up with honesty, integrity, respect for who you're helping. And, your business will keep growing that way. Thank you, Pete.
George, you can see sisters do have an influence on you. My 2 sisters had an influence on me, my daughters. And it is kind of something when you are around people, you grow up in that environment, it reflects in how you live your life and how you build your business. You can see how George is building a successful business in Georgia, in the Atlanta area. So when tragedy hits and water, whatever hits, make sure you get a hold of somebody you can trust, and you can trust George. I've known him for years. I've watched him work. He's been dealing with my tragedy, and I see how he deals with it firsthand. And he's the person you want to call because he's going to deliver results for you, and he's going to be trustworthy and fair. So thank you, George, for that. Our next speaker is a person that you've already heard from, and we're going to bring him back. Stacking thinking, the quiet strategy behind exponential growth. And when you think today's world, you better be thinking about the exponential growth is possible. Think big and then put a plan together. And when you want to put a plan together, you're going to see why you want to call Jonathan to make that plan a success and something you'd be proud of. So Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you, Pete. With my business, we've helped over 500 companies over the last 6 years. I've seen incredibly successful people who have built incredible businesses. Now, one of the things that I found incredibly interesting was the difference between someone who was successful and growing gradually, and there were these few businesses that I worked with that just had hockey stick level growth. And it made me think a lot about what is it that differentiates these clients from the rest. Well, today I want to talk to you guys about one business, which I know Pete was very excited to hear about, because there is one business that all of you guys know that you may not even be aware is the reason for its success, in my personal opinion. Tesla is one of the companies that today many people look at and go, how is it possible that their valuation is far exceeds what a normal business would look like? A lot of people go, how is it possible that a car company is outperforming every car company out there? What exactly is it that makes them different? Well, I believe that it is what Elon Musk exemplifies if you actually really dig deep beyond the surface level, which is something that I've dubbed stack thinking. It is a mindset around how you approach developing business. We actually have many companies out there who have done it, but I want to today just talk about a few examples that might help you kind of connect some of the dots here. Tesla started out developing cars. Now, what most people didn't realize, and I think are starting to realize now, is that Elon Musk did not just make a car, he made a car with autopilot, which has been a revolutionary technology, allowing cars to practically drive themselves. For the record, I do have 3 Teslas. I have a Cybertruck, a Model X, and a Model 3, all of which have autopilot, and I drive less than 20% of the time when I'm on the road. The autopilot takes me places, does all of the driving on its own, and it is revolutionary to have an autopilot AI that is 6 times statistically safer than my own driving and gives me the peace of mind knowing that we can arrive on time and safely. Right now, that technology is starting to become more and more popular, but as many people may know, is now Elon Musk is using that technology to create what is robotaxi. Robotaxi, many people don't realize, but it is actually unfolding before their eyes, will actually revolutionize our world in a way that will eventually make vehicle ownership a thing of the past or a thing for hobbyists and enthusiasts. The reality is one day that technology will make car ownership more expensive than utilizing an automated ride-sharing capability. But wait, I thought that Tesla was a car company. Well, even beyond robotaxi, one of the things that we will see coming forward is the invention and the development of full-scale autonomous robotics with the creation of the product Optimus. Optimus leverages the exact same video technology and artificial intelligence capabilities and learning to make robotics a household personal item. As of today, robotics requires you to have a developer skill such as my own, which I could have a robot, but it would require me hours of coding and development. With Optimus, it will be able to watch you. You will be able to instruct it as you would a child, and it will learn from you. It will be able to watch its own actions and see the results and optimize from there. Now, the key here of this is the exemplification, which most people don't realize Tesla is doing and Elon Musk is doing on multitude of verticals, which is re-leveraging your existing product in different capacities to create different income streams that build on themselves. How are you today monetizing your business? Are you utilizing one income stream and one way to apply your product and your solution? Or are you finding different ways, and often in ways that most people wouldn't even realize on the surface, to re-leverage that product and create multiple income streams with what you already have? Stack it, leverage it. Thank you.
Dang, that was good. Oh my gosh, I geek out on Elon Musk and Tesla. And to see and hear from a person who obviously leans into it by having 3 Teslas. And I'll tell you a quick story, then I want to give some credit to Kevin in the back and tell you a little bit more. The first time I rode in the car with Jonathan was a couple years ago. And I had been in a Tesla once before, and the guy just did automatic pilot, and he just showed me a couple things. But all of a sudden, when I got in the car with Jonathan, we were making all these turns, and his left foot was on top of his right foot. He was looking straight at me and not watching. I said, "Keep your eyes on the road." And I then freaked out. But I realized that everybody goes through that freak out stage when they see self-driving. It's the most incredible thing. And it will, and I totally believe what he just shared. If I never have to drive another mile in my life, I won't miss it. I'm waiting for robo-taxi. I'm waiting for my time to have a Tesla, to drive it. No, to be in the car and not drive it and be able to multitask or do what I want to do while it's driving you around the city. So thanks for giving us a spotlight into the future. And if you want to know more about how that works, you'll be able to go to the show notes, because you really want to know, how do you leverage 3 Teslas for an income stream and be able to take an existing product and be able to monetize it? Because that's the world we live in. We live in the world of multiple income streams. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for that. That was very educational, and thanks for bringing it to our community. Okay. Kevin, is Jay on the line? Yeah. Okay. So before we bring Jay Tubb, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Bora. You can't see him, but behind every event we do, there's a person that's making it happen. And Kevin has done numerous events for us and makes my mistakes look like a success. Whether I'm telling him we have somebody streaming that I didn't tell him about, whether I didn't get the information to him, whatever it is, Kevin can turn it around and makes it flow like water down a stream. And so thanks, Kevin, for your hard work, for putting his skills. So if you're looking for somebody, from 13, Kevin has been working on his skill set. He's a little older, he's a little younger than me, but he still has leaned into technology, AV, making sure that events like this run smoothly and we can bring our stream to the world through the new technologies that are available. Thank you, Kevin, for that. And if you want to come join the thriving community on Sunday, you can meet Jonathan, Linda, Kevin, and Jeff came this past Sunday, and you can be a part of a community. We meet here every Sunday, 10:30, and they're so gracious to provide this on a Saturday so we can bring people that are impacting the world, people that are helping people, people that are making that impact. And we were so thankful for Grace and David Black for being able to do that. And you can hear from David on Sunday morning. Okay, our next speaker is remote. He's up in Richmond, Virginia. This is the craziest story. I laugh every time I do it. I hadn't seen Jay in 50 years. And I go to the reunion, and, you know, we change a little bit in 50 years. So he was a little bit more grayer, so was I. And so I said, well, so what have you been doing the last 50 years? And so I found out he's been 40 years on a holistic journey. So I immediately probably talked more to Jay than I did anybody else, because I'm interested in holistic. I'm interested in that journey. I don't have near the experience. He's living it every day. He's impacting. He's practicing holistic, which is so important if we want to generate that interest. So if you want to spend 40 years learning it, and if I want to spend 40 years, I'll be 108, which I don't know if the the age is going to go up to 108, but I'd rather learn it in 4 months. So Jay, thank you so much. We work together, and I want to be able to bring holistic living to our community. So Jay, the platform is yours. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. I want to talk today about holistic living. So we typically break down things into, which is a very three separate things that are not really separate. It's all connected. A lot of people have this realization. It's just what do we do with that information? Well, as far as the body goes, I've been working in the natural foods industry, finding organic and better for you products. So that's part of it. What you eat is certainly important. You are what you eat. We've heard that before, right? And also taking care of our body, not with the food, but with exercise, getting enough rest, drinking is very important to stay hydrated by all means. And then body, mind, well, certainly helps to stay sane in this day and age, which is easier said than done, but mostly emotional well-being. I know I'm a big fan of therapy because we didn't come with an instruction or an owner's manual, right? So we typically pick up our method of dealing with what goes on in our own emotional body by example, for better or worse. And so, I've seen how that's flawed because there's a lot of lack of tools of people being even aware of what they're feeling. So a good therapist, I highly recommend. Just somebody to reflect back on to you how you're thinking and feeling, because I tend to process a lot up here in my head, but not as much down. Having somebody who's my advocate to guide me through, good and bad. But certainly you don't get to a certain age without some trauma. It's just normal. Like in Buddhism, they recognize that suffering is a universal. It's not an accident. We all have to go through things, and how you deal with it is a major part of that. So body, mind, and spirit. Spirit, immediately people think of their whatever religion you were raised in, whether you're still following that faith or not. But certainly, spirit connects us all, whether you want to call it God or the Great Spirit. There's lots of ways that different cultures have approached that. But I know for myself, it involves being grounded. I have a meditation practice, so kind of calms the brain waves down because we all get triggered fight or flight mechanism all day long in this modern world of ours. So I really recommend, no matter whether you go to a church, a synagogue, a mosque, or a temple, I encourage people to get out in nature, because we become separated from nature. And I think it's a really important reference point. It's very calming, especially along water. I like to go hike by the river here in town. There's a lot more than just exercise involved. It's connection. We are part of nature. We're not separate from it, right? So appreciating that I think is also really good for your mental health. And that wraps me up right at 5 minutes, Pete.
Thank you so much for bringing this holistic and the mindset of holistic living. As we finish up, I want to bring one more topic to you. We live now in a global world. I say the world changed to global overnight. Act local, but think global. And when I say that, I'm referring to our online world. This can be seen around the world. We have 2 team members in the Philippines. They're 12 hours different than us. And people around the world can hear this message. So when we leverage our time, it's so important to recognize, what does the world say about you online? If I meet a person and I have an interesting conversation with them, the next thing I do is search them. And if I search them and I have enough content, which we use the formula 7-11-4, which means for me to get to know, like, and trust you, I have to consume 7 hours of who you are, which means a podcast, a course, a workshop, a LinkedIn profile, a book, a workshop. All those things are different platforms. And for me to get to know you and go on a journey with you, you've got to create the content. So you can search me, Pete Kane. If you put the word podcast, that's kind of my middle initial. I've done 450 podcasts, 1,500 videos on just one channel. Is that a little excessive? It is, but I'm learning to create content. I'm learning to hone my skill. So if you're not doing something, whether you're George and exercising your talents every single day and bringing value to the market, you're not going to get better. If you're not buying a Tesla and another Tesla and another Tesla and figuring out, I remember the conversation I had with Jonathan about a year ago, and he told me about Turo. I had never heard of that word. And he told me about, it's a word where you can rent a car, you can put your car out there and monetize it. I didn't know what Turo was. And then I found out that he was monetizing Teslas. And so I thought that was the coolest idea. But I didn't know anything about that until I had a conversation about it. So he opened up the world of Tesla to me to a whole different level. And that's what's possible when you have a conversation with somebody. I immediately started geeking out on Elon Musk and started listening to all the things he had. Whether you like him or not, he's changing the world. And people don't like change. And when people don't like change, they throw things at people. They get angry, they yell and scream. So our ability to grow personally is our ability to make sure you build that profile so people can see you and get to know you, like you, and trust you. Because the online world is here. We're not going back. We're in a digital world. So doing a podcast, if you want to do a podcast with me, I'd love to share your story with the world, with our community. We want healthy businesses to be able to give healthy impact on the world. Because if you don't have a healthy business and people are asking for you to support them and you can't support them, then you're left without being able to exercise that. So that's why we talk about businesses. We want people to speak. We want people to share with their community how they can impact the community and what they can do to change the world and make it a better place. We'll be back here because Grace is having their fall festival the 4th Saturday. We're going to do it on October 11th. So it'll be in a couple weeks. So if you would like to speak, you would like to be on our podcast, you would like to come to Grace and meet our community, every Sunday we're here at 10:30, 10 o'clock, we'll be greeting you. If you'd like to come, meet Kevin in person. He's going to be back in his control center in the back, making sure everything is going smoothly. And you can meet some other wonderful people. And so I want to thank our speakers. Absolutely incredible talks this morning. And that's just the beginning, because these are people that are changing the world. They're impacting the world. And we want to spread the word about how you can take your story, your business, and make the world a better place. So thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate you. You can go to any of the show notes and find out more about our speakers so you can get a hold of them and be able to take advantage of the wonderful things they're doing to change the world. Thank you.